Welcome to the Film Festival Cottbus 2020, and hello to Lina Lužytė, the director of the castle. Thank you very much for your time, and this I find very unusual but great. It's like a coming of age film, I would say, you know, in a way it is, and yeah, I found that a great take on coming of age, because it's very unusual, I would say. Could you tell us a little bit about what was the inspiration in general of for this film?
So the inspiration came from the reality of Lithuania. Since the country joined the EU, a lot of Lithuanians left the country. They emigrated to other countries for a better life. And it's not that thousands of people left, but like hundreds of thousands of people left. And not all the stories were stories of success. A lot of people ended up in the so-called modern slavery. And often Lithuanians in media especially were portrayed as victims, you know, as blue-collar workers, as slaves, as, you know, victims. And I, as a filmmaker, I felt that I must make a film on this topic. But at the same time, I didn't want to portray a Lithuanian person as a victim, but rather as a fighter. So for me, this girl, I mean, she is a bit Machiavellian, and what she does maybe, you know, I wouldn't recommend, but I think what I like in her is the spirit to go after your goal, and in a way to reject the so-called second-class migrants' existence and to go for the first-class, you know, existence, for a proper life. So that was the inspiration.
Mm-hmm. And I also felt that one major theme was that there is this nostalgia for a homeland that one barely knows. So was that also part of your thought process when you wrote the screenplay?
Sorry, I'm not sure I understood the question.
That there is a nostalgia, like a longing for a homeland, for Lithuania, but also they don't really know that because they live somewhere else, right? So they are not. It's somehow also it's nothing that they know too well. You know, it's not like living there, right?
Yes, nostalgia is an important topic, like longing for the homeland in a way. And I was interested to look into this topic from three different angles, basically from the angle of a senior person and kind of somebody who is around 40, and from a child's angle. And of course, the one who really longs for the homeland, for Lithuania, is the granny, but at the same time she has dementia, and then all that she remembers is Lithuania. So it was a kind of attempt to make it slightly ironic that the memory of the country is a dementia in a way. And then the generation, mother's generation, I mean, those people, like looking into the reality of what happened to Lithuanians, I mean, for people, the question was how to survive, you know, how to feed your children, how to provide, you know, proper life for your children. So it was not so much about the connection with your past, with your home country, but it was really about transferring your family from Lithuania to a better place. And for the young generation, you know, like, what is Lithuania? Who cares about Lithuania? You know, like, why would I bother? So I wanted to look at these three relationships to the homeland, because also Lithuania has a very long history of migration, like Ireland actually too, you know. And for the elder generations, those who were born in US after the World War II, they come back to Lithuania and they know the language and they love the country, and, you know, everything is very romantic. But for the current generations, they are transferred from A to B and they forget A. And that's fine, you know, that's, I mean, that's how the world is now, you know, like the walls are collapsing of the countries, and the world is becoming one big place, where like a melting pot of nationalities.
And why did you decide on Ireland? Because you said that it's a European, it's like they migrate to all over Europe, right? So why was it Ireland then?
Actually, Ireland and UK were the most popular destinations for Lithuanians to emigrate. Probably it's because of the language, also because of the countries are doing quite well. But the interesting thing is that Irish and Lithuanians, they are similar in some way, like the sense of humor, the passion to tell the stories, to sing, the passion for beer, like Irish drink a lot, Lithuanians drink a lot. And before deciding where to shoot the film, I was traveling into all these countries. And for example, Scandinavia, which is also a very popular destination for Lithuanians, I rejected because I don't know, Norwegian or Swedish languages. And then UK for me seemed, well, a bit, actually in UK it's very difficult for Lithuanians to film. It's because of a relationship between the film funds and the financial da-da-da. But Ireland was the place where I went. I really liked to be there. If I would emigrate myself, probably that could be also a destination. And it was just a very welcoming country, very welcoming people. And also Irish people understand what is migration and emigration, because so many of them migrated to US in the beginning of the 20th century. So it's a close topic to their mentality.
Yeah, yeah. And how did you find Barbara? She's such I mean, what an energy, How did you find her during casting, or did you already know her?
I will disappoint you because there is no big story for how I found her. Everybody asked me the same question. So early on, before still writing the script, I decided to do a little casting of the girls, and I invited like 6 girls from a casting agency. And one of them was Barbara. And I remember filming her and, shivers going down my spine because she has this very intense energy indeed. And I mean, she's a singer and she plays piano and she is a natural talent for acting. So I was very lucky. Yeah. I was very lucky, yeah.
That's really lucky. On the six people on a casting. That's beautiful. Yeah. Should always be like that. And then there is one more theme that I felt very strongly, was that there are these dreams of children who do not come true because of the socio-economic pressure, right? I mean, the socio-economic pressure of the parents, in this case of the single mother there, right? So was that also was it also a strong topic for you?
Not really. My intention was a bit different. The mother in the film did not want her daughter to carry on with music because she saw no future in that, and she herself, was a pianist and then decided to give up. And I think it's not socio-economic reasons, it's more the ideological reasons, like hell with art, hell with music. We don't need that. Let's, have a easier life, like, job in the office, or I think, yeah. And then I remember writing the script. At some point, I thought that maybe there is even a bit of jealousy in the mother, Maybe she was a pianist, but she was not like the best pianist on earth, You don't need a lot of mediocre pianists. Only a few best go to play in the concert halls. And then she saw that her daughter is, pretty talented, and maybe it was a bit of jealousy included. I don't know for sure, but maybe.
Yeah. And then also I was wondering this last scene of the film. What do you think does this moment mean for Barbara's character, and how did you talk with her about that scene in preparation?
So, as you said very well in the beginning, it is a coming-of-age film, and for me it's also a coming-of-age film. And when we see Barbara, when we see Monica, actually the name of the character is Monica, when we see her in the beginning, she's all about herself. She's like, me, I want this, I want that. And I can go as far as to kidnap Granny in order to get what I want. And what the Granny wants, she wants to go back. And this final scene, in a way, is her return. She goes back. We don't know what happens to her. Obviously, probably she drowns, it's like a suicide. But for Granny, it's a trip to her homeland. And Monica, in the end, I think it's the first time when she does something for somebody else, not for herself. She lets Granny go because she wants to go. And of course, it's not so easy, because this going into the sea probably means death. But for Granny, it means that she's returning back home. And I remember when my father watched the film, he's a funny guy. He said, the castle too. Granny comes out in the port of Lithuania, takes off a piece of grass off her forehead. So it's, yeah, it looks like a downbeat, like a sad ending. But for me, I see quite a lot of brightness in this ending. Like Monica has changed. She allowed other people to go after their dreams. And for Granny, in her head, she's returning back home because she would never adapt to a new country. She would never learn the language. And of course, she has dementia. So, you know, for her to be lost in her dreams is much better than to live in a flat in Dublin.
Yeah, yeah. And how did you work with the three actresses together? Was this something that came natural? Were they just from the beginning on in this? I think they are also in a great energy when they are together. You can feel very different types of characters very strongly, even when they are all three, and no one gets lost in a way, right?
So with the three actresses, they haven't played together, all of them three. So this was the first time. And of course we did the rehearsals, but I tried to not work with them together. I tried to work with each and every one separately, because I was looking for a sense of distance between them in the family. I wanted them all to be very different, with very different views on life that would not correlate very well between. And often people ask me, how did you build up or create this such a strong, powerful relationship between them? But I think what is very strong and powerful between them is that there is no real relationship between them. Like there is no mother-daughter as we imagine. There is no the girl granny as we imagine. There is a lot of coldness between them, and there is a lot of distance, and they are very, very different, but they are kind of, you know, meant to be a family, which officially they are. So yeah, I was trying to not work together with all of them, but separately with each other.
And also, like, is that something that you then also kept on the set, that they are separate, or that I mean, or they were just getting, because I mean, if then imagine they get really good friends while they are shooting together, then you have a problem, right?
Well, I think that they are good actresses, so maybe it would not be a problem if they became friends. But I mean, of course, they were in touch. They were seeing each other. They were talking to each other. But I think maybe their interests in life and conversation were so difficult, because, for example, Barbara, who played Monica, she was always hanging around with the guys, with the camera guys. She was like talking everything, making fun, making jokes. Gabia was talking to a Polish actress who played Natalia, and the elderly actress Jūratė, she was I mean, she was so busy. She was going to concerts in Dublin on her own. She was, you know, talking to anybody she wanted. They did not match even on the set. They had their different interests.
And what are you doing now in this lockdown? How are you, like, do you write? Or, I mean, except from going to Zoom meetings where you present your film?
So this summer, summer of 2020, I've spent on Lesbos Island in Greece. I was filming refugees. Mm-hmm. And I filmed quite a portion of footage about one family, about a family whose father and husband is a political activist, making his own films. And then I left with an idea to go back, but the camp burned down. And it's been all over media. It's a very big event. And now I'm I'm thinking how to make a film out of what I have. So now I'm kind of working on a documentary footage. It's very challenging, but very interesting at the same time.
Okay, so you use the time right now in the COVID-free editing.
Yeah, I managed to use this gap between the two waves of COVID and to sneak out to Greece and to come back and then again lockdown. Yeah.
All right, then thank you very much for this Q&A, and I wish you good luck in the editing and hope to see another great film of yours.
Thank you very much for having me, for having my film in the festival, and I hope there will be some audience watching it even during COVID.